Now then, guys, Ben here, back on the Rad Music Chat channel. Hope you're all doing really well. We're back with episode 16 in this series that we called Songs of My Life. Now, Songs of My Life is where we take a music lover, just like you, just like me. We send them 20 questions. Each one is answered by a song choice. Get them to choose the 5 or 6 that leap out to them the most. Bring them on the show, and basically we talk about each song choice, what it means to them, the artist, tell a few stories, go off on some tangents, have a few laughs. Everyone that's been on thus far has said they found it really fun, and hope you're having fun watching them as well. So episode 16 is with a gentleman called Michael Lasaponara, or Mikey Lasaponara. Mikey, I first came across in his band Roses Are Red that was signed to Trustkill Records. Roses Are Red were particularly active in sort of the mid 2000s. I actually met him on a UK tour they did with Under Oath. Love Roses Are Red, huge fan. Kept an eye on what the guys were doing as the band got less busy. Mikey was always a great drummer and has gone on to be a wicked session drummer. In fact, he's basically classed as social media sensation John Dretto. He's basically his drummer. He's also recorded some long lost tracks that have finally seen the light of day from foreigner singer Lou Gramm, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, Mikey's been keeping busy, and he found enough time in his schedule to come on and have a chat with me, his old pal. So yeah, enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Thanks.
I don't see Vinny a lot because he's very busy in New Jersey, doing his record labels, doing his record store. He has a lot of things going on for himself, for making a living and being involved in music, playing drums in his band.
Yeah.
He does a lot of his stuff down there, far away from here. We speak from time to time, like once in a while at this point, but like, I mean, we're friends. We're good. He does his thing down there. I do my thing up here.
It's like a surf rock band that he plays drums in, isn't it?
He does. I think he has a surf rock band, and then he has another band called the Goons, which is a really fun kind of band where he plays drums, where like they all look like old school masked burglars.
Okay.
Sort of. They have like eye masks and they have like barred white and black striped shirts. It's a fun band.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so he does that, runs a bunch of his labels from High Tide and like all the I don't want to call them necessarily subsidiaries, but like offshoots of High Tide. He does that. And then he's got a record shop that him and Magda have opened. So he does that too. So like,
well, I just to formally introduce you. So I'm on the line with Michael Lasaponara. How did I do?
That's a fine way to say it. Lasaponara is usually
Lasaponara. Cool, awesome. Really, really chuffed that you could to join. It's as we discussed off air. It's been 21 years since I was last in your company.
Yes.
So, how are you anyway? How's things? How's life?
Life is great. Life is busy. Life is stressful as it can be from time to time. I'm married. I've been playing drums for a living for the past 20 years. And recently, because I decided I wasn't busy enough, I'm about halfway through like my master's degree in marriage and family therapy. So, so like I play a lot of drums and then I do a lot of schoolwork and read a lot of research papers. So over the past 20 years, like I record remotely for people and in person for people who are in town. I play in a cover band on the weekends a lot of the time. So I do that. It's like corporate gigs, weddings, and stuff like that.
Right.
And as time has gone on and sort of like things have shifted over the past couple years to where there's a little bit less going on with the cover band, I decided that I was going to start this sort of journey into like marriage and family therapy, and become a therapist as well. And when I started it about a little less than a year ago, the idea wasn't to stop playing drums. The idea was to pivot a little.
Right.
It's like, I'm going to still do this stuff, but I want to try this other thing that has nothing to do with drums or music, because that's been my whole life for forever, right? I just want to have something different. And
Yeah.
wouldn't you know it, Ben, that like the literal fucking second I start to do the master's work,
Right.
I'm busier than I've ever been with drums.
It's
all of a
typical.
sudden, all of a sudden, I'm like, I'll pivot a little bit, and then all of a sudden, people's like, "Can you play drums for me? Can you play drums on this year? Can you do this run of shows? Can you play on this record?" And I'm just like, "Okay, well, so now I'm trying to juggle both, and I mean, it's a great problem to have,
Mhm.
but I have a hard time navigating with what the universe is trying to tell me."
So go tell, because obviously I know you from the awesome band Roses Are Red. That I will, in my intro, I will let people know about the band and what you did in the couple of records, etc. And I'll cut to the few videos that the band did. But go talk about what you've been doing as a session drummer recently, or some of the stuff you can talk about, what you've been working on, because some of it is really sort of high level.
Yeah. So the bigger stuff that has happened over the course of the past probably 5 to 6 years, because it's some of it is delayed, because sometimes when you record or do work for people, for whatever reason, that stuff doesn't come out until later.
Of course.
Sometimes it's years, right? So
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to do some work on like the newest Lou Gramm release that actually comes out today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Out today. The record's called Released, and that is a collection of songs he did in roughly the 1986 era
Okay.
during his solo stuff. And it's just stuff that he either didn't finish or didn't have drums on it, or just had a drum machine on it,
Right.
with Vic Campbell from Def Leppard and a bunch of other high-level musicians. And I recorded drums on that a few years back. I would say probably the three main singles that will be released or have been released: Young Love, Time Heals the Pain, and I think the third one I think is called Lightning Strikes Twice.
Okay. That's incredible.
I played drums for a guy named John Dretto, who is a social media celebrity / influencer, who's like a wonderful guy, has like an incredible following, and is an incredible like guitar player. And he asked me to like play with him live, and I record the drums for his songs as well.
Right.
So I was, yeah, absolutely. Other than Lou Gramm and John Dretto, I haven't done this in a while, but sometimes before the Goo Goo Dolls go into the studio and they do pre-production, I'll run to Buffalo and do some pre-production drums for Robbie's songs for new Goo Goo Dolls records. Bang out like 4 or 5 songs for him in a day.
Wow.
Not stuff that will be on the record, but stuff that's a reference.
Yeah.
When they go to like actually record it in Los Angeles or wherever they do it. There's a new artist out named Miles Jepson, who's a wonderful singer that I'm working on stuff with. He's released a record that I played on, and there's probably more coming down the pipe with that. So there's like there's a ton of stuff happening right now. You'll love this. I got hired to play in a band called 1916, which is like an Irish punk rock band.
Right.
Right. So I did a bunch of a run with them of like three or four shows for like St. Patrick's Day, and I think there'll be more coming down the line with them. But that's just fun live music to play. So I really enjoy that.
So okay, let's start with I liked the order that you sent them in, to be fair. So we'll start a little sort of downbeat and then go up from there. So
Sure.
so number 5, a song that makes you cry.
Yes.
And you answered with Jimmy Eat World's "Hear You Me" off Bleed American.
Yes.
May angels lead you in.
First of all, just before I let you go on that, yeah, just Jimmy Eat World are the kings of just beautiful rock songs, in my opinion. So what about that particular song that made you cry? Just the song, or do you relate?
That particular song at that time in my life, I had been in a situation where a lot of the guys in Roses of Red exposed me to emo style music, and like Bleed American was the first Jimmy Eat World record that I had really listened to and loved, which a lot of people will probably tell you that they won't say it's sacrilegious, but like most people who love Jimmy Eat World, like they go with Clarity, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
record before that.
Yeah.
And that is also a great record. It's just not the first Jimmy Eat World record I experienced. And so like I loved the way Bleed American sounded.
Mhm.
I loved all the songs on it. It was recorded really well. And Hear You Me ended up being one of those songs where like the first time I listened to it, because I try to listen to an album when I get it all the way through from start to finish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To listen to it as an entity, even now. And that really dates me, right? In the era where like just singles are getting released all the time.
Yeah.
So I did that back when Bleed American came out, and that song just struck me in a really specific way. And like the first time I heard it, I just cried. And it was just because it wasn't that I could relate to it in a way where somebody close to me had passed away, but just
Right.
the idea of somebody like so beautifully lamenting somebody that they cared about.
Right. Yeah.
And hoping that wherever they were at that point, it was just so like beautiful and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
I think on a certain level, I wasn't expecting it
Right. Yeah.
in the middle of the record.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love that about Jimmy Eat World too, is that there are some songs that are just rocking out, and they usually have like a really interesting, cool message. It's like good, it's good content. It's good subject matter.
Yeah.
But that song, it just, I don't know, it just hit me, and it was sad and it was beautiful, and I listened to it a couple times and just let myself like feel it,
Mm-hmm.
And there aren't many songs that I have that experience with. So that's one of the special ones. There's a part in that song, and I'm totally gonna fuck up the line, but it's essentially like that, that person had a heart so big that God wouldn't let it live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Or something similar to that. I know I'm paraphrasing.
Great start. Thank you. So then we went to this one's quite self-explanatory anyway, but a song that makes you drive fast, number 11.
Yeah.
And it was Beartooth and the song Doubt Me.
Remember every time you it makes me stronger than before.
So Yeah, I mean, just you just listen to the song. Like, there's a couple bands that do that for me. Most recently, Beartooth does that. I fucking love Beartooth.
Cool.
I just do. I think I think they're an awesome band. I think like Caleb is a great songwriter. I think the riffs are awesome. Connor Dennis, their drummer, is amazing. He's just like a
Right.
fantastic drummer. He's a really nice guy. And that song just gets my like blood pumping. And again, I'm going to date myself here, but like my initial reaction to that, to let you know how fucking old I am, is that the before that, like the thing that gets me most pumped up is like Pantera's Vulgar Display of Power record.
I mean, yeah, but that's still is still a gnarly record. You know,
It's such a gnarly record, you know. There's some songs in there that like
Yeah.
Regular People, Conceit, like that song. I mean, that whole
Yeah.
record just
the
makes
whole
me
record.
like ready for war, you know.
100%. I remember reading a single review in one of the you know the old school music magazines here in the UK, and it was I think it wasn't for Walk, it was another single. It was Mouth for War, I think.
Yeah.
And whoever was reviewing it might have been Henry Rollins, and they were like, if you walk down the street with this playing in your headphones, God help anyone that decides to fuck with you.
Immediately punch someone in the face. It's just really, it does that to you. And that Beartooth song does it for me. Sometimes Every Time I Die does it for me.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, but the first thing that came to mind as far as stuff I've been listening to recently, if I got to get really jacked up for a day, you know,
Beartooth.
but yeah, Beartooth, man. If you haven't heard The Surface, I know they have a new record coming out very soon. If it's not already out, I know their single has already been released, but I mean, they're a great band.
Number 16, this is a personal favorite when I saw this, just because I love this band as well. But number 16 was, it's kind of a two-parter. So it's a song that changed your life, stroke, formed your musical taste. Now, as I always say when I have musicians on here, that's usually one and the same thing. You know, something that forms your musical taste changes your life. And you went with good old Metallica with Enter Sandman.
Yeah, so like, okay, obviously that record sounds incredible.
Yeah.
And when that record came out, so what's meaningful to me with that is like, my father is a drummer and is now retired, but he's a music teacher. So he taught me about all these different kinds of music and different kinds of drummers and drumming styles and all these things. But when I was 11, before we had really gotten into that, I just loved rock music.
Right.
Right. So I grew up in this era of like Metallica's Black Album, Megadeth's Rust in Peace.
Yeah.
You know, that era of hard rock. And the reason why, and I wore that cassette out. I wore out the Black Album cassette. But the important thing, the reason I cite that is because my first concert ever, my dad took me to see Metallica on the Black Album tour when I was 11.
Right.
So, and that experience changed my life in the way that I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is like watching how the crowd reacted, watching how like they went for it on stage, watching everything about the vibe, everything about the enjoyment, about the connection between the people and the music, what it meant to everybody and the band, and just like them just nailing it and going for it. I was just like, this is for me. This is like, I want to play drums and do this forever.
Yeah. I think that era of music and metal and Metallica is so, I almost see that Black Album era of Metallica as being a movement in itself. It was so formative for so many of us around a certain age.
Yeah.
I really do think that, because they moved heavy stuff right in at everyone's faces. You know, they moved it into the mainstream proper, you know, and people had to pay attention. But that Black Album tour as well, I went to see that, the indoor one where they had the snake pit and like the kind of diamond shaped stage, right?
Yep, that was the one.
That's
Under
right.
the stage, and before they even came out, like the movie would end, and then the Ecstasy of Gold started to play.
Goosebumps every time I hear that Ecstasy of Gold.
Every fucking time.
Yeah,
So
man.
I like to experience that at 11. It was
Yeah.
just, holy shit.
Yeah.
God bless my dad for bringing me to it, and it's been hard to top it ever since. It's like a concert to start your life with.
Absolutely, 100%. I just remember my ears ringing for 3 days after it as well.
It was so loud. I didn't even go. I remember because I was in like 6th grade.
Right.
And I just remember taking the day off from school because I think I had like a contact high from like all the weed smoke and how loud it was. And it was just bananas. But I'll never forget it. Just me and my dad. And God bless him for taking 11-year-old me.
Question number 19.
Yes, sir.
Now this is I'm gonna have to hold back on this one so we don't go too long talking about this, but it's a song that you love that would surprise people that know you.
Morning Sprite.
Morning Sprite, yes. Yeah.
Yes, so again, a lot of this goes in tribute sort of to my father, who, and I think I've alluded to this with you before, is that as I was growing up, I loved hard rock and rock drummers, and that was great. But my dad was like, listen, you have to understand, like, this stuff is awesome, but there's this other faction. There's this other level of drumming.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with like Lars or Nick Menza or any of these guys.
Yeah.
And that has to do with like jazz fusion and players who just approach the instrument in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like, honestly, like, I can say this with all honesty, like my drumming, I always feel like my drumming is super weird. Like it's just like this weird melting pot of like how like voicings and things, and every time I hear it back, I'm like, that was stupid. I'm gonna say this, and this is not to like garner any sort of like acknowledgement or of ability or anything, because I don't care about that at all. But like, I've never liked the way I play drums.
Okay.
It's just one of those. I don't want to say imposter syndrome at this point, but like there's something that happens in some people's brains like mine where when you've seen how people can play drums and what they do authentically, anytime I do something, it never quite feels good enough. Even if it's authentic, right? So I do that to myself. That's a me thing. I'm not going to put that on anybody else but me. Mm-hmm. But growing up, listening to what those players can do, like Vinny Colaiuta, Dave Weckl, Steve Gadd, who's from my town, Dennis Chambers, Billy Cobham. I mean, I could go on. Mm-hmm. Any of those guys who can play that way and nobody else can play, like, it's like it really showed me what was possible on a drum set. And to this day, I love that music. I love to listen to jazz fusion. I love listening to like Alan Holdsworth and Chick Corea and Al Di Meola and anything that sort of like pushed the envelope at that point. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They had like some improvisation to it, but was also performed at like an insanely high level. To this day, there are things I hear those players do that I just don't understand. My brain can't comprehend the voicing and the patterns and they're approaching it. And I like that. I like that little bit of mystery to it.
just Dave Weckl for me. If anyone says who do you think is the best drummer in the world, I always think it's Dave Weckl. Yeah, and he's certainly in the conversation, right?
Absolutely. I mean, so at that level of drumming for me, and again, like this is just my opinion. I can have this conversation with you and drummers for hours, right? Like you said. So when you get to that level, you're not talking about better. You end up talking about why you like this guy's approach the best.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I appreciate the smoothness and the fluidity of Dave Weckl. To me, for me, and like a million drummers will tell this to you too, like for me, what the Weckl thing is the smoothness. My favorite drummer is Vinny Colaiuta, because I don't believe that anybody has ever been able to play what Vinny can play with like the fire he plays it with.
Right.
And he's just like a fearless man who can play literally any combination of anything. And it's always musical and always insanely good. And Gad is like obviously the king of feel. So like when you take all of these guys together, it's really hard to pick one. You can have a favorite, but you're not really gonna get to a place where you're making a hierarchy.
No, completely understand. Yeah, that's right. And so I worded that wrong. You're completely right.
Like for you, if that's right. If Dave Weckl is your favorite and you think he's the best, completely valid.
Yeah.
It's just in my paradigm at this point, Vinny is the best, but he's really just the guy I like to listen to the most because I never know what's coming.
Right. No, that's great. And shout out again to your dad for basically saying, yeah, these guys, these metal guys and rock guys are great, but there's just this whole other world over here, you know?
Yeah, those separate worlds. And again, I attribute to like what I do on drums to being like just sort of like a weird melting pot of those things.
Yeah.
Like when I listen to my playing back, which is usually like I go again, a thing I do to myself. I'm like, how could I have done this better?
Right.
Like that's usually what my playing research is when I listen back to my playing. And but a lot of the time, I hear those guys. I hear my influences. I hear like Josh Freese and Danny Carey, and I hear Lars, and I hear aspects of fusion drumming that I pulled from certain things, but trying to put it in like a rock context, you know?
Yeah. I hear that all over, especially the first Roses Are Red record. I hear it all over that.
Yeah, there's a lot of ideas and things. I tried to cram so many things into that record. And I feel like I shouldn't, I listen back and I'm just like, God, this is just like a 20-something kid trying to prove himself.
You see, you've said this to me before, but I don't hear, and I am a real thing about overplaying. Like I have a real, it's like the first Boss Staff record he did with Slayer. I'm like, oh, he's overplaying. He's trying too hard to be like, right, I'm in for Lombardo now. So I don't get that. Everything I think that you do, and I'm not just blowing smoke, like honestly, I just think you've enhanced Vinny's songs rather than going, look what I could do. So that's my.
Hey man, I really appreciate you saying that. Like when other drummers and other musicians say that to me, I feel very like grateful for it. I think my saving grace with Roses Are Red is that record, especially the guitars and the foundation of what Vinny wrote was power based instead of intricacy based. So it allowed me some extra space to do interesting things.
Moving on, God, this is some highbrow stuff here. Number 18 was a song that you love from like a movie or a film soundtrack. And is it Promontory?
Promontory, yeah.
Promontory, by Trevor Jones, and that was from the movie Last of the Mohicans. So tell us what that song does for you.
Yes. Oh God, that does sound like highbrow shit, doesn't it?
Hey, we need some.
Well, like, I don't mean for it to be necessarily that way. What happened? Like, so I love that movie,
Great movie.
and it's one of, like, for whatever reason, that soundtrack struck me. Like, I can't watch the movie or hear that music without linking them together. Like, the music was the essence of it, and there's not a lot of experiences for me with, like, orchestrated music and soundtracks where I felt as deeply connected to it as I did with that film and that music. Like, the just that particular movie and that soundtrack with the orchestration, I don't know, it makes me feel a lot of emotions about, like, love, and, like, that movie, there's a lot of challenges in that movie as far as, like, the love interest and Daniel Day-Lewis struggle, and it kind of just transports me. That music actually transports me to, like, that period of time. Like, obviously, as a person living now, but it puts me in that place. It, like, transports me to that narrative, if you will.
So it did what it was supposed to do then, really.
It absolutely did, but it's like, it's rhythmic and it's emotional and there's no words. It's just like, for me, it's just like pure emotion, and it, like, tackles the essence of that film so well, and I just really appreciate it. I don't listen to it a lot.
No.
I listened to it a lot when I was younger.
Okay.
But it stays with me for being just the ability for it to be vulnerable. For me, that soundtrack, that song, it's like, it's very vulnerable, but it's also fucking epic.
Yeah.
And I love those two, that sort of, like, juxtaposition.
Okay, so number 20.
Yeah.
I love your approach on this. So, because you sent this through, it was your favorite cover song. And you sent it through and you said Stone Temple Pilots, Wicked Garden.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, is that a cover? And I had to go check. I was like, I've been thinking, so it's your favorite song to cover.
Yes, as somebody who's, like, in a cover band that plays on weekends and does stuff, like, that's a form of how I make money as a musician. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs to play, because when we play bars, we get to do a little bit more, like, rock-based stuff. Like, the cover band has a repertoire of about, like, we know about, like, 300 songs.
Wow.
So what ends up happening, and we played together for 20 years, and we've never had a set list. There's no set list. Wow. As a trio, the guys in front of me, the bass player and guitar keyboard guy, they turn around, they say a song, and we just go.
Holy shit.
Every time. It doesn't matter. It'll be, The Killers, Mr. Brightsides. It'll be Elton John, Don't Go Breaking My Heart. It'll be Tom Petty, American Girl. Like, and then it'll be, like, Lizzo. It's just like, it's everything. Okay. So it's actually made me quite a better musician.
I bet.
To be able to shift gears between all of these things.
Yeah.
A much better drummer for sure. But I digress on that part. Stone Temple Pilots, like, when I get a chance to play Wicked Garden, is Eric Kretz plays drums.
That's right. You know that from reading the liner notes of Core.
Reading it. And the DeLeo brothers, obviously. just like those Stone Temple Pilot records for me, especially the earlier ones, like
Mhm.
the feel and the sound, and I don't know. I just love playing it and trying to get the feel right, and it just feels good. And you and I also come from that really special place where like we remember analog, and we're like the last generation that has both analog and well, I'm right on the line of Gen X millennial.
Yes, that's what I was alluding to earlier. Yes, apologies. Yes, yeah.
So like
And
you
I'm
and
Gen
I
X.
are very similar, but like roughly millennials, like we're kind of the last generation to have analog and digital.
Yeah,
And we both remember having like Metallica and Megadeth and Poison and Motley Crue, and then it all going away and becoming grunge,
yeah, that's right.
right? So
Yeah.
like, there's this huge musical shift that we experienced in real time. Just an incredible record with and the thing is, all these records you just listen to all the way through.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they are. There was definitely a thing that was about the sequencing and the journey, and I still think there's musicians out there that are trying to honor that. But like you say, I think it was Tommy Lee on Nikki Sixx came out about 5-6 years ago, and they went, Motley are probably not going to do albums anymore. We're just going to release a song every now and again. And it's like, I get why, but you know,
I mean, I get why too, but it's like I love Motley Crue. I'm going to preface this ridiculous statement I'm about to make.
Okay.
I love the Dr. Feelgood record that came out when I was very young, and I loved everything about it. But I didn't listen to it. I listened to it all the way through, but that also meant I had to endure like Rattlesnake Shake.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that song. Yeah.
So it's just like
I know.
sometimes there were songs on there that you were just like, oh fuck, all right.
Yeah, the deeper cuts. Yeah, you're right. But Motley were never a whole album's a classic all the way through record anyway. I think,
I agree with that,
yeah. But Dr. Feelgood just had that mix. Dr. Feelgood, like it or not, that is why Metallica went, oh, Bob Rock, okay, and they'll admit that, So
to this day, Ben, and this isn't a joke. Like I'm very lucky to own like the 1980 Tama Bell brass snare drum.
Oh wow!
Like I own the snare drum that's like used on Nevermind and Stone Temple Pilots Core, and technically it is the snare drum that got used on Metallica's Black Album. However, because I'm a nerd, the one that he used to record that record is like a later version, like a late 80s, 90s version of the Tama Bell brass.
Right.
But it's also like on the Dr. Feelgood record, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Right? So like even to this day, every rock record I record for people, whether it's a single song or a record, it's usually that drum.
Yeah.
Because it's magic. So lucky that I found one in like a closet in Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, like a little tiny shop had one and it had the wrong lugs on it, and I don't think anybody knew what it was, so I bought it for a song. And I'm just lucky to have that drum, because there's only I don't want to get into the lore of Tama Bell brass, but like that first year run, there's probably 175 of those drums.
Wow.
And
that's amazing.
But I mean, the first, again, to the grunge thing and the Stone Temple Pilots thing, to answer your question, almost as impactful as seeing Metallica live. I was at a buddy's birthday party in like 7th grade, and he had just gotten Stone Temple Pilots' Core record.
Yeah.
And everybody else was out doing stuff, all the kids. And I stayed in his garage with like a boombox with a CD player on the top. And he's like, you should listen to this. So I put it on the CD player, and it starts with Dead and Bloated.
That's right.
Right? So like Scott Weiland's like singing that, I am, he's doing that thing. And then you hear the snare just like, blah! And I was just like, woo!
Yeah. because you turn it up because the mix is low for the kind of distorted vocal, you know, and then that snare. It still gets me sometimes to this day where I'm like, shit, that was too loud. You know, like yeah.
But I'm just like, I'm like, what? How is that sound happening? What is that snare drum?
Mike, what have you got coming? Like, this is the point where I usually say, where can people hit you up, see what you're up to, follow your, you know, your musical journey, and what, you know, what can we put out to the world? I will also duplicate it in the description below as well. So
sure. So as far as like my website has, you know, places to contact me. You know, that's MikeLasaponara.com. You know, that tells people like what I do in the studio and how to contact me. And there's some samples there of stuff I've played on if people want to hear that. You know, sometimes I don't do it a lot these days, but once in a while I will give online lessons.
okay.
You know, on Zoom with people to try and help them with stuff, or look at reframe some of the approach if they need help with that. You know, there's a couple shows coming up with John Dretto in Utah at the end of April. There's a show that we're opening for another artist, so I'll do a quick show out there. There might be some stuff coming down the pipe for some 1916 touring a little bit later that I can't talk about right this second, but I will tell you once we're done. I just can't say it publicly right now, but
okay.
And of course there's a lot of records that need to be recorded this year. I have like 3 or 4 full records that I need to record for artists coming up. So busy, and I also have to continue my work trying to become like a couples therapist.
Superb. Yeah, no, for sure. So your website, does that link to everything you're up to? Does it? People can sort of pretty much see everything. Do you keep it updated, or, you know?
Yeah,
It's
it's pretty updated. It's got links to like my Facebook and my Instagram.
perfect.
And like you and I'll link people to this.
Yeah.
From social media and all that stuff.
That's great.
But,
That's great.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, listen, don't go anywhere yet. But just for the sake of this, you know, thank you so much for joining. And
thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful.
No, really cool. I knew that you would be a really sort of interesting. I had to actually ask Vinny to where can I find, you know, where can I find Mike? So he was like, oh, he's on Instagram. So because he keeps in touch with me just now and again. He'll always answer me because of he loved the cover that I did of Where You've Been. So yeah. So yeah, that's cool. Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll talk shortly.
Yeah, can't wait, buddy.